With the world diving into AI, a good question is, which one do I use? Today, we'll be answering that question by telling two AI to create a Python program about a simple capture the flag game with an artificial intelligence based enemy. Well, not really artificial intelligence, but yeah, computer based. So I told Copilot and Gemini to create So I told it to write me code in Python for a capture the flag style 2D game. Don't include images and use squares for the player, since I don't want to have images in it. It just makes it much simpler. Also, include an enemy operated by the computer. So here's the code from Gemini. And I ran both of the models in their Pro or Think Deeper models, which makes them make more accurate code. And here's the Copilot code. Okay, so now let's test it out. I'm going to copy all this code. And we're going to run it in Visual Code Studio Python file that I have. I'm going to run it. And let's see how it runs. So it's not very good. Okay, so we won. So it tells me to hit R to restart, but the keys aren't working. So R doesn't work. So we can try to rerun it, just like this. The enemy has your flag, and then the enemy doesn't do anything. Okay, so it's pretty good. It tries to go for your flag, but if it sees you, if it's close to you, then it'll go for you. It's pretty good, but what I don't like is how one of the keys don't work, and the enemy isn't really smart, and it also doesn't work because the enemy can't win. As soon as it goes and grabs the flag, it never goes back, right? So there's also no tagging like a normal capture the flag, but I guess I didn't say that, so that makes sense. So now we're going to try the Copilot version. Save this, and then let's run the Copilot version. Okay. So this is more... There's no tagging involved, it's just a race to get to the middle. Okay. The enemy doesn't even try to get you. It's really simple. In my opinion, the Gemini version was much better because it had tagging and the flags are actually at your base. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to give it more feedback to help it improve, right? So we're going to go to the Gemini version and I'll tell it, add better capabilities for the enemy and make it work as it is not returning to the base to its base with the flag. Also make the R key work. Now we're going to go to Copilot and tell it to make the flags make two flags, one at each player's base, and make the enemy better. Also add tagging to stop the enemy and the player. And now we have the Gemini code ready. So we can go ahead and test this. Paste that in. Let's try this out. So this is much better. You can tag it. It follows. Okay, let's see what happens when it grabs the flag. Okay, it goes back and it scores. The R key works. Much better. Okay. Now what if you grab and then you run away really far? It goes... Okay. Okay. So this is actually a much better version. Everything works correctly. The enemy can tag the player and the player can tag the enemy. It can grab your flag. You can tag it if it has your flag. You can run away with the flag. It's much better. I actually really like this game. Now let's see what Copilot did. Okay, it's still writing the code. Now, what I liked about Copilot is that it actually had a scoring system, unlike on Gemini's. But at the same time, Gemini's, every time you want it ended and you could restart, which I guess is a different way to do it, but it's still good. So let's see this code and let's try it out. Let's go ahead and run it. Okay, so there's no tag. Okay, you can still tag. And it just makes it turn gray for some reason. When you grab the flag. Okay, now you're both gray. Okay, so that just like doesn't work, I guess. The tagging just doesn't work. So when they have their flag, maybe the space key can do something? Nope. So you just have to grab it and just go. Okay, so the tagging just freezes. I guess that's one way to do it, but I prefer the Gemini version is actually really addicting, in my opinion. It's much more fun. Like, you can tag, you can go around. The enemy is actually smart. Okay, so we lost there. Oh, let's tag her. Okay. So Gemini actually did a pretty good job there. Now, let's keep trying to improve it. So for Copilot, we're going to say, make the enemy smarter. And I'm going to say this in every step because I just want to see how good they can actually make the enemy. And make tagging better so the cube doesn't just turn gray. There we go. Now let's go to Gemini and let's tell it to make, may split the screen into players base and enemies base, and only allow the enemy to get tagged in the player's base and vice versa. Also make the enemy much smarter. And Copilot has started coding. Okay, so its idea of tagging is like a stun, which I don't know if I really like, but let's see. So first we're going to try the Copilot version this time. And let's go ahead and run it. Okay, so you can't tag until they have the flag. Get the flag, you can grab it and run away. So the CPU doesn't even try to stop you. And if you both get tagged, you're out. Like, you can't do anything. not very fun in my opinion. Gemini has been doing much better. So let's see what its code is like. So let's run it. Okay, so you can tag, but only you can get tagged. Okay, I really like this better movement. This is actually really addicting. It's actually really fun. So there's like split, and you can go here. Oh, you got tagged, tag. The only downside is that the enemy keeps running right into the player. Okay, so we're gonna try to get it to fix that. So tag him, overrun, tag, yes, we win. Alright, so for Gemini, the only thing I can say is we can try to get it to fix get it to make it better, like make the enemy smarter. So we're just gonna say, make the enemy smarter, adding better thinking and not always running right into the player. Make it strategize or do other things to try and outsmart the player. Now, I know that doing something like this might actually involve making the enemy have its own AI, but I want to see how good it can actually make the enemy. And for Copilot, I'm just going to tell it to make tagging a teleport back to the base instead of a stun. Also, make the enemy smarter and even make it chase down the player in some cases. Alright, so let's see how that goes. So we have, Gemini's code. Let's copy this and try it out. Okay, let's see. So we can, okay, so it seems to try to avoid the player in the player's base. Okay, so I like that. I like how it's trying to avoid the player, but it gets buggy. Okay, so it's pretty good, except that it gets a little buggy. Like, if it grabs the flag, it tries to avoid the player. It tries to avoid the player in its base, but if it's in its own territory, then it'll go and try to get the player. Then you can go around. Jukes. Under, and boom, we win. Okay, so I like what it's trying to do, but it's much worse because of the bugginess of it. Let's see if Copilot can catch up. So once again, the enemy is actually still really dumb. We can tag it. Tag. You can go here. Tag. Okay. So it's nice, but I like how smart Gemini's AI is making. So let's just tell Copilot to make the enemy much smarter, adding this. Okay, so let's try to make it as smart as possible and tell Gemini Let's tell it it is working well, except when the enemy tries to avoid. Player just goes backwards, leading to bugs. Enemy stuck on middle line. Make more dynamic movement. Let's see what that does. And Copilot's going and doing it. And after this, I'll make my own capture the flag style game with the stuff that I'm trying to make it implement, and I'll post another video showcasing my work versus the AI. And it is actually pretty hard to make like a game like capture the flag. It might seem simple, but it's actually pretty hard. So let's see. And this is going to be the final test. So let's see if we can do it. Copilot is really lacking behind in the actual gameplay because of how the enemy isn't like as smart. So we're gonna see if it can come up. Okay. So the game just doesn't work. Interesting. Okay, so maybe this won't be the final test because the game just isn't working. So we'll tell it the enemy just isn't moving past its own flag. Okay. Oh. It won't let me continue because I reached my limit. Oh well, it's okay. Let's see what Copilot can do though. Give me full code. Alright, so even though we couldn't get the final Gemini version, I'm pretty sure that it'll still work pretty good. Oh, it didn't completely make it. I'm pretty sure it'll still work really good. It'll probably fix the bug. So what I'll do is I'll make it by myself and compare it to these versions. But that's going to be for a future video, so yeah. But let's see how good Copilot can make it. Okay, so we have the code finally. And now, let's see if Copilot can stand up. So for some reason it's going around. It's like there's a wall here. So I'll put it back to its base. And it's stuck. So it tries to follow me. So it's trying to come to me. if I have its flag. Okay, that's pretty good, but in my opinion, I still enjoy Gemini's version, as it is much, much better. And what I'll actually do is I'll see if Copilot can actually make this better. By grabbing this, stopping its response, posting this. And let's see if Gemini can improve the code. If Copilot can improve the code that Gemini did. And then we'll talk about who I think is the best AI for at least coding. And Copilot has actually evolved a lot. So let's try it out. Finally, let's see how it runs. Oh, the enemy won. So, it's running towards me. I'll let it get it, and then I'll tag it. And I'll run, grab the enemy flag, run along the corner, and I won. So while the evading methods are, I guess, fine, as when it comes in, but it teleports back to the middle line, which I don't like. So, in all, I think the best version has to be the Gemini version, because Gemini was much smarter, and it made the game, it was actually able to create an enjoyable game, even though it did start having glitches at the end. But even before that, it was a pretty good game, in my opinion, compared to Copilot, which had a okay game, but it was much less complicated and much less fun, because it didn't have the good enemy movement. And I also like the graphics that Gemini was able to achieve, even though I told it to use only squares. The rounded edges made it look a lot more better. So in my opinion, Gemini did a much better job in programming. Now, I have used Copilot for other uses, like finding out the answers to stuff, or helping debug my code. It actually uses Copilot in Visual Studio Code too. So I think Copilot is good, but when it comes to actually making programs, Gemini is better. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. This is Arnav, signing out.